There have been people who are testing their IGF-1 blood levels where they have this magic that happens. It's because finally all this little signaling to this pituitary went boop, and it went
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to this episode of On the Gel Success Series. I'm Lisa Vivori. I'm a Diamond Ambassador with New You Life, and we want to welcome you today. We have a really, this topic today is ingredients of Somaderm gel. And this is going to be exclusively focused on these ingredients because what we know is that we call this an HGH gel, and it is. But the actual product is much, much bigger than just HGH. And we have three medical and health professionals who are going to speak from three different viewpoints on the gel today and why it's so powerful. I want to introduce our panelists first, and thank you for being here. And another thing before I move forward, I want to invite all of you to go to the YouTube channel On the Gel Success Series and subscribe to the channel and like the video. That helps all of us. So the first thing I want to do is introduce our panelists. We have Dr. Rimka over here, Dr. Stephanie Rimka, who is a board-certified neurofeedback specialist with a practice in Atlanta. We have Dr. Kevin Green, who is an MD, Georgetown-trained MD from Connecticut, who has just published a book on doing a deep dive into your health. We have Carrie Cater, who is an Eastern medicine-trained acupuncturist in the Atlanta area. And I want to welcome all three of you. Super excited about our discussion today. Thank you for being with us. So the first thing we're also going to talk about, because we really can't talk about this product without talking about homeopathy. And so I'm going to open with, I think, Stephanie, did you want to just address homeopathy a little bit? And then we're going to go to Kevin to talk about HGH. We are going to talk about HGH. I want to say one more thing. We're going to do another Zoom on just the HGH. But today we're going to try to cover all the ingredients. So we're going to have to, keep it a little bit brief on the HGH. There's so much to say on each ingredient, but we're going to try to get through it all. So on that note, Stephanie, you want to kick us off?
Sure, Lisa. So what I'm going to say first, I'm actually going to back up and not just talk about homeopathy, and I might pass that off to Carrie because she has a nice little elegant way of describing it. I'm going to talk about what the three of us are going to end up talking about is the uniqueness of how these ingredients are truly greater than the sum of their parts. So something I end up saying kind of because of my Catholic upbringing, I think I've referred to it as the Holy Trinity. And I think it's just, I had no other way of describing it because we have three things that are happening. And the three of us actually, divine nature, the Trinity of us, we're going to talk about these things that are branched, but it's even more than this Trinity. So what we have here, yes, there's real HGH. We're going to talk about that. We have real glandulars, the thyroid and adrenal glandular substances. We're going to talk about that. And we have these whole leaf organic herbal components, and we're going to talk about that. But what makes this product, not just each one of these in and of itself is amazing. And each one of these things can be used by many practitioners separately to help you get better. They're bundled though, however, each one in this beautiful formula of homeopathic medicine. And then you go into the three of them with this synergistic homeopathic delivery system makes it have exponential results for all of us. And it really brings a very special innate intelligence, almost of a divine resonance for me. And I'm going to let Carrie then go with well, what the heck is homeopathy, right? So I'm like, we got HGH we're going to cover. We have glandulars we're going to cover. We have the herbs we're going to cover. But it's because it's bundled in homeopathic medicine that makes it even more effective. So go ahead and Carrie, why don't you talk about what's homeopathy?
So homeopathy is actually very simple. And I'm sure you've heard before, like cures like. So this is a German physician and chemist. His name was Samuel Hahnemann. And he started homeopathy in 1796. So basically, he believed that substances that can cause symptoms in healthy people could cure similar symptoms in sick people. So he started experimenting. So let's say an easy example is if a patient of his would die from a bee sting, he actually caught a physical bee and he put it in 10 parts water or distilled water alcohol. So he crushed up the bee. So then he shook that up. It's called succussion. So you shake it up like this, shook all those bee parts in that water, and he took 1/10 of those 10 parts and put it into 10 parts of clean distilled water alcohol. So these dilutions, he kept diluting it down until it was just the physical essence of the bee and not the bee itself. So he gave that essence back to the person that would die of the bee sting, and it cured them. That's really a simple way homeopathy is explained. He then moved to Paris, and even today, French homeopathy is a mainstay in France. Other countries, Germany uses homeopathy as well. To me, I think homeopathy would have made it more in this country. Two docs, this is the story, two docs went to Roosevelt. One was a homeopath, one was a medical doctor that wanted to open a school, American Medical Association, and he was better friends with the president than the homeopath, so he won out. And I think if Roosevelt would have let both practitioners, both doctors, open up a school in the country, I think the face of our medicine would be totally different today.
Yeah, that's an interesting story, and we could do a whole series just on a whole episode just on that, couldn't we? But that's a great understanding, because one of the great questions always comes that there are kind of two questions people have when they look at this product. The first one is, how could this, is it safe, right? So people are worried, oh, there's HGH, and Dr. Green's going to talk about that. But the other thing people say is, well, there's not enough in here to do anything. How can it be helpful? So, when we understand homeopathy, that's what we understand. And I know you guys are going to talk a lot more about that today. And so from here, let's go right into the HGH. So Kevin, you want to kick us off by talking about the premier ingredient in the product?
Sure. But when we're talking about homeopathy, and I'm traditionally trained, so I'm learning as I go. Everything I had to learn outside traditional medicine, I had to do on my own. But I love the term complementary medicine, which is what I'm trying to do, because I'm trained in traditional, but I love homeopathic medicine. I've gone to the classes. I'm trying to learn naturopath, trying to learn functional medicine, complementary medicine. And if the patients don't realize, if they have a doc who is so close-minded, a traditionally trained doc who is so close-minded, they need to find another doc, because clearly traditional medicine has failed in the United States. And that's why we need complementary medicine. There's a role for each, but it's unfortunate that the homeopathic doc couldn't grease Roosevelt. Become more friends with Roosevelt, because that's, it's been around forever. It works. So HGH, it's released. We have right square here is something called our pituitary gland. The front of the pituitary gland is the anterior pituitary gland that releases human growth hormone. But it's not the human growth hormone that does all the work. Human growth hormone then goes to our liver, and from our liver, it releases something called IGF-1, which stands for insulin-like growth factor 1. And you can see from this slide, no need to see where it's going. Just look at in the green box, you see insulin-like growth factor 1 and all the different places that it affects, all the different organs that it has a role in. It helps the brain. It protects the heart. It builds muscle, builds bones, helps with ovarian and testicular function. It helps growth and repair, protects the kidneys, and then helps the immune system. This slide is one that I love showing to all my patients, because it tells them, when you see in the brochures and when you read about HGH and Somaderm, and my goodness, look at all, is it too good to be true? There's no question in my mind that it's not too good to be true. This is just IGF's job, and this illustrates it. For some reason, this growth hormone in our system peaks at age 20, 25, usually out of our system. The anterior pituitary making growth hormone roughly by the time we're 30. And then the dreaded aging process starts at that point. But just because the anterior pituitary stops making it doesn't mean that it's gone, that there's still, it can still make growth hormone. It's just programmed not to. But can we turn it back on? Of course we can. And that's called hormone signaling. So a quick difference between hormone replacement and hormone signaling is I'm on testosterone. My body no longer makes as much testosterone as I need. So therefore I need to replace my testosterone. With Somaderm and HGH and the gel is we're getting just enough absorbed through the skin to light the burner called our anterior pituitary to release growth hormone. It's signaling the anterior pituitary to wake up and release more growth hormone, which releases IGF, which then does all of these wonderful, amazing things in many different areas of our body. So yes, you're going to sleep better. Yes, your muscle's going to grow. Your fat's going to go down. It takes time. Everybody has to understand that this takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. You may notice an increase, a better sleep, but really 4, 6, 8 weeks down the road is a really good time frame to know when you're going to start seeing the first couple of benefits. But then it's a cumulative effect, and it keeps going through the months, and that's well explained in all the websites and the literature. We cannot turn this back on. You're not going to see results overnight. It takes time. Patients have to understand that. But this is why this is one of the main ingredients, and it has these incredible properties that hit all these different organs. So, and like Stephanie was saying, we also have the glandulars and the herbs, which just makes this gel an amazing, amazing product. So, and to prove that the growth hormone is doing its job, so I decided to purchase a machine for my office that basically looks at whole body composition analysis. So it takes into account water weight. So I can measure a before and after muscle mass, fat mass, water mass. So what I did was all my patients that started on growth hormone on the Somaderm, I got a baseline, and 4 weeks later, without them changing anything else except the growth hormone, I repeated their whole body composition. And every one of them so far has shown an increase in muscle mass and a decrease in body fat, and that's just at 4 weeks. I'm still doing 8 weeks, 12 weeks, because there is that cumulative effect. But even at 4 weeks, I have cases where I took a physically fit patient and made him more physically fit. I took the overweight patient and made him drop 12 pounds instead of his usual 2 pounds in 4 weeks, while seeing the changes in the body mass as well as the body fat. And obviously that's abdominal fat, which I'm trying to get off as well. That comes with increased risk for diabetes, heart disease. Heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States right now. Once we get rid of that body fat, now I know that I'm making my patients live longer and improving their quality of life, while I'm actually adding all the other stuff, which are the hormones, the herbs, the glandulars. So it's a great jump start. It's not the whole story, but it's a big part of the story. But I've proven I have created a biometric. I've created a set number that I can show a before and after effect with controlling all the other issues. They only added Somaderm. And so there's more studies to come, I'm sure, that will prove that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, besides thousands of people feeling better. Traditionally trained docs, I am trained on double-blind, placebo-controlled, show me the numbers, show me this, show me that, and then we forget to ask the patient how they're feeling. I mean, so believe me, and now I actually have the numbers and the stories to go with it. So it's been a fantastic addition to my treatment regimen.
Oh, that's fantastic. How many patients do you have on the product?
In my practice, I have close to 200 right now. But I also have about 8.
All of them?
Yeah, well, I have 8,000 patients but the only reason I'm at 200 is because I can only see so many in a week. Because once I tell them what my own personal experience and my medical advice, then they get on it. And now pretty soon I'm trying to get it. I changed my website to get a blast email to everybody because I don't want patient number 7,000 to find out about this 6 months from now if I'm seeing them in a 6-month visit. So it's really something that I just need to get the word out to all my patients because they're all feeling great on it. That's for sure. I haven't had, and again, I was expecting somebody to have a side effect or some problem with it. And I have actually found none so far. But then you deal with it just like anything else. But the side effects are less because it's not a drug. I'm not giving a mega dose of something that comes with side effects. It's very hard for our body to produce something that's going to give us side effects because our body's in charge of it. Our anterior pituitary is basically making the growth hormone that's causing the IGF to be released. So I'm not forcing it upon them. What I'm very proud of is I'm taking my gym rat friends. I'm 50 and I've got these guys who are still hanging on to, they still want to be bodybuilders, which is great, but let's do it naturally. And I'm taking them off the dangerous stuff from China and the injectable, and I'm switching them over to this, and they're liking it. And but I know I'm making them healthier. I'm taking them out of that danger, and now I'm actually creating health, and they're seeing all the other added benefits that Stephanie and Carrie are going to talk about, the added benefit of the glandulars and the herbs. So now they don't have to spend all this money on the vitamins and et cetera, et cetera. So that's I'm proud of that because that was a tough sell, if you will. But I said, that's dangerous. This is not, let's try it. And now 12 weeks into it, they still maintain their muscle mass. And now they're feeling healthier, and they are healthier. So.
And they are healthier. And that's a huge key. And on that note, thank you so much for that. That is fantastic. And I am going to, I'm going to put up, the list of ingredients that we're going to talk about today, so that people can see it. And who wants to kick us off on the glandulars? I think we said Stephanie. Yeah, please start talking. Give us a little bit about thyroid and adrenal.
Okay. So thanks, Kevin. So again, that big one on the top you see there, the HGH and the 30X, and that's giving you the homeopathic dosage. It's the highest homeopathic dose you can have legally prescribed. I know it's a little counterintuitive. So that 30X is stronger than the 8X, and the 8X for that thyroid is stronger than the adrenal one, which is the one you're seeing, the glandula supraanellus suis 6X, all right? So that's telling you the homeopathic medicine dose. So those are the 3 active ingredients of it. Kevin discussed HGH very, very well. And like you said, it is about signaling because it's a micro dose. It's a 30X micro dose. That's why it's always super safe. He's never going to put any of his patients into that superhuman category where there could be a danger. That's what he was explaining. So what we have too then is the thyroid and the adrenal gland supports. These are 2 that I have had to have pretty much every single patient on for over 20-something years. Why? Okay, everything in the body works as a coupled system, no matter what we're doing. So you might have heard like calcium, magnesium, and potassium, sodium. Everything goes up and down with each other and moves. The thyroid and the adrenal glands are another one of those coupled systems. And a lot of people, it's very fashionable or trendy in functional medicine. Adrenal fatigue is a very common phrase right now. Thyroid disorders such as hypothyroid, Hashimoto's are through the roof. People are having tremendous autoimmune problems. All of these things are making people feel extremely tired, a lot of mental fatigue, a lot of mental fog, and a lot of stress. And so it's very much anxiety driven. So really quick primer on the thyroid and adrenal glands, just what they do. Thyroid is here and the adrenals sit on top of your kidneys. The thyroid is kind of your thermostat for all of your metabolism in your body. And HGH is going there. That was on Kevin's thing. So HGH helps your thyroid, but by actually putting in a thyroid glandular, a real gland from an actual animal. So there are 2 animal products in this. It is not a vegan product. So we get that question a lot. They are both sourced. The thyroid gland and the adrenal gland, the thyroid is coming from a cow and the adrenal gland is coming from a pig. We'll be really clear where it's coming from. It's coming from grass-fed free-range pastured animals in Australia that are being sourced for food already. And there's been an agreement, so these animals are taken very well taken care of. That was very important to me as a practitioner. I was 12 years a vegan before. So animal rights and safety and knowing what's going into my body, part of the importance of the ingredients of this, everything is sourced very, very well. It's why I agreed to tell my patients they could use it before I even had the product in front of me. So we're giving actual adrenal, thyroid and adrenal glands, the hormone, the actual product, and the homeopathic medicine signaling to nourish, nurture, and replenish. Let this thermostat that's controlling metabolism fill back up and do its job, raise metabolism, raise temperature. The adrenal glands are kind of like the break of stress. So anxiety and PTSD and people feeling wired and tired feeling. And why they have to have coffee 7-8 times a day, or a donut or a brownie or a candy bar, because the adrenal glands are the things that are trying to give everybody energy by producing cortisol and adrenaline all the time to give you a false sense of energy. So you go to the Monster energy drink or the caffeine or whatever else because your thyroid is drained, your brain is drained, but you can't stop. You've got to go to work. If kids are crying, the homework, traffic, whatever, you still got to do it. So we're artificially doing things to stimulate. This product has the thyroid and adrenal glands to completely nourish and replenish your gas tank, basically, which allows a lot more energy, fat loss, metabolism is where a lot of it is coming from, this thyroid, and feeling calm, feeling balanced, feeling peace again, and being able to think clearly comes from supporting that adrenal gland. Okay, so I give everybody glandulars. I have been for a very long time. They're really important. I actually, as a vegan, I went to not using them, and I could never get anybody better if they weren't using actual glandulars. And this is the best glandular product I've ever discovered. I've never seen one work this fast, and I've used the highest pharmaceutical grade supplements you can use in practice.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think we should can you just say a word so people understand about what your practice is? I mean, you work with the brain. Can you just give us a 30 seconds?
Oh, sure.
What your practice is, because it's so relevant to what this is and what you do.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my degree, so I have a lot of mental health background, and I became a doctor of chiropractic that is board certified in neurofeedback. So I kind of went on based on my own family experience with autism and mental illness, and in my family and people I was trying to help them recover with drug addiction, alcoholism. So I'm kind of known as a brain optimization expert. I help recover injured and traumatized brains that are particularly often found in mental illness, which led me to have to look at the gut and intestinal or disorders, because you can't help somebody with autism if you don't do that, which led me to have to look at hormones, so I have a functional medicine practice focusing on environmental epigenetic issues and brain optimization with neurofeedback, biofeedback, and lots of neat little gadgets with electricity and lasers and magnets and things of that nature. So I'm primarily fascinated with the brain structure and its function. And mental illness is kind of my mainstay in what I do.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. And
I actually had a meeting this morning, and mental illness went to number 2 in the United States. It's no longer, diabetes is now number 3 for the chronic illness. It's heart disease, mental illness, and diabetes. So Stephanie, we'll talk later.
Yes.
I need to come visit you.
I love how this product is bringing so many different fields together. And Kevin, I didn't even ask you. I mean, you are an internist and you mentioned that you have been moving from traditional medicine. I mean, you trained at Georgetown. You did, everything traditional, but you've been an internist with a practice for over 20 years. Is that correct?
Yeah. My Italian mother, who's a nurse, when I went to medicine, she pointed her finger in my face and said, "You better listen to your patients." She goes, if you listen, you'll get the diagnosis 95% of the time. And traditional medicine failed my mother. So she has a library full of books, and I met all the different, of course I flipped through them. And so I had my own teacher as my mom, basically telling me all about naturopaths and complementary medicine. And I became friends with Andrew Weil. I read his book, just the whole everyone really. So then when I went, I'm happy I got into Georgetown. I worked hard to get there, and my mom was happy but she said, that's just this much of what you need to learn. And then once I got that out of the way, my CMEs were always towards non-traditional. And I can't even stand saying non-traditional because it's this complementary medicine. I just need to know, you look at the patient, you figure it out, you figure out the best treatment plan. And it's certainly not drugs first. I'm not against them, but they're certainly not, I'm not writing this opioid epidemic is because of us traditional docs, we created it. So, I mean, that's a perfect example of how dangerous these drugs these medications and this prescription pad is a very dangerous thing to have. So I focused on heart disease because it was the number one. I had an interest in it when I trained. Turns out to be the number one killer in both men and women. So I said, okay, well, let me go after the big gun first while taking care of all the rest of it. But then, I mean, I learned by going to classes, and then I went as a patient to my local naturopath and to my functional medicine. So if I'm going to learn, might as well learn on myself. And so I've always kept that open mind. I give it all the credit to my mom because she forced me to, and she's Italian, and I don't want to piss her off any more than I've had in my life. So this is fascinating to me.
Yeah, and I want to go now, and I thank you for that. You had a wise mother. I want to go now to Carrie. I want to cut to Carrie, and Carrie, you were on the other extreme, having trained. I believe you went actually to China. Give us a little bit about that, and you're an acupuncturist and also in holistic medicine, and you've done a lot of different things in this arena. Give us a little bit of that, and then talk to us a little. Please tell us about the incredible botanicals, what they are and what they do, and talk a little bit about the process of how they're, what are whole leaf botanicals anyway? So that was a lot to throw at you, but you can handle it.
And Stephanie and I are going to split up these herbs because there's a lot of them, the botanicals.
Okay. I'm going to throw those back up on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I've been in practice for 17 years. 10 of those, I actually also study the brain. It's a system called Neuralink. So I'm looking at neurological disconnects between the brain and the body. And the brain tells me very specifically what's wrong, so I don't have to guess at what's going on. So I deal a lot of women's health issues, adrenal thyroid issues, gut issues, probably same as Dr. Green and Dr. Rimka does. Basically, I love homeopathy. It's the mainstay of my practice. I feel like I get the best results with the vibrational frequencies because it's a signaling. So it helps the body get the vibrational frequency of healthy tissue, healthy bone, make sure that they don't have hidden infections. So that's why I stick with the homeopathic remedies. I do love the botanicals as well. And I do want to start by saying these are non-GMO botanicals. They are sodium lauryl sulfate free, paraben free. Alexi has really gone out of his way to find the best ingredients. So I think, do you want to start, Stephanie? Let's go through these. I'll start with aloe vera and we'll
go down our list. Yep.
Okay. So the first ingredient that I want to talk about is aloe vera. Aloe vera is a powerful cooling herb that helps the other nutrients in the gel absorb. Aloe vera also helps balance your blood sugar and increase your energy. It also promotes cardiovascular health and soothes the skin by supporting your liver function. So that's a quick synapse. We have so many to go through. We're going to do a quick synapse of all these botanicals. So Stephanie, you're up.
Okay. So you'll see number 7 on that list is Chase Tree. It has a few names, and it's given that name because they actually thought it was being used to lower libido in people and to increase chastity. So that's where it came up with the name. But it doesn't turn out it really kind of does that. What it does is actually act on the pituitary gland to increase its production of another hormone called luteinizing hormone. And that goes to your ovaries and it helps you make more progesterone. This is why it's been known as the woman's herb, because it helps with PMS, menstrual cycles, irritability, anxiety, and things related to PMS, menstrual pain, regularity, but it also does help men as well with benign prostate issues and urinary frequency. It's a very slow acting herb. I do find it interesting you put it in this because it's a slow acting herb, but it does have libido, sexual function, and I think it's one of his slower acting ones. So I like chase leaf a lot, actually. So Carrie, I'm doing ginkgo. So I'm gonna do ginkgo because I'm the brain. So I don't know which one is that on the list, but ginkgo is often, many of you are taking it. It's a very, very popular supplement. It's from the ginkgo tree, one of the oldest plants on earth that's been around for millions of years. It is known as the brain thing herb because it does a lot of things for memory, neurotransmitter production, but it does a little bit more than that. And some people don't understand why. They think, oh, I'm taking ginkgo. I want to talk a little bit more about this one because it's really important. It has, yes, it increases neurotransmitters, but it's doing something. Studies have now shown how it's doing it. It's helping your body remove aluminum chloride from your brain. And this aluminum chloride has been linked to things like Alzheimer's disease, dementia, Parkinson's, and autism. And I'm a neurodegenerative disease expert. This is the primary thing I see in my practice. It's one of these, ginkgo is, I think, actually overtaken by people without understanding why they're taking it and knowing when to cycle on and off. I love that it's in here. It also supports mitochondria, and that's a huge buzzword right now in functional medicine as well. And for those of you who don't know, they're little magical bugs that live inside of you that give you all the energy you have to live. And this is being shown to keep them from aging. So it's like an anti-aging for your mitochondria.
Yeah.
So
can I ask a question? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to ask a question. You mentioned, an ingredient that helps you get a toxin out of your system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to talk about a couple of ingredients in here, you and Carrie, that actually help you detox. Can you, whether it's now or at some point while you're speaking, can you please address what that might look like? Because what might people experience if they start detoxing any of these ingredients you're talking about? So people, if somebody has, I don't know, you discuss what that might look like. Okay.
Perfect. Thanks. That's so great. I should have done it, Carrie. That's perfect. So I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to be really obvious about it. Called clean water. All right. Why is that important? You have to drink water when you start using this product or any other product that you're told is going to help you start increasing your detoxification systems, chelation, anything that looks like those words. Yes, there are a multitude of different products in here that are increasing your body's ability to clean itself, or what we call detoxify itself, which really just means function normally. Your body is constantly detoxifying. That's what it does. That's the entire lymph system is a sewage drainage system just to get stuff out. I'm purging, it's just as I breathe, so many are coming out of my breath. It's just a normal metabolic thing. However, we're also living in a very unnatural world where we're being bombarded. So that aluminum chloride I mentioned, that ginkgo helps your body get out and is associated with Alzheimer's and autism. That's in cigarette smoke, for example. When I walk by and I smell somebody's cigarette, I've just inhaled that, whether I wanted to or not. It's in our environment all over. It's in products and cosmetics and deodorants and food sources, right? So we get a lot of heavy metals and things like that happening. And depending on how clean your system is, you have a certain level of accumulation of toxins in your body, right? And when you get to a certain level, when you start dumping them outside of what's normal for your body to process, you're going to have some symptoms. So as your body increases its ability to dump out some of these old stores, you could get things like headaches, perhaps bad dreams. That's a different story. There could be some skin rashes, fatigue. It could really increase fatigue. And there's some very specific substances we're going to talk about, Carrie and I, that are going to explain why the detox is so powerful. You want your body to be able to detox efficiently. Now, if you're toxic, we have to slow the pace at which you can do that. If somebody has 300 pounds to lose, they can't do that rapidly. We have to do that slowly because all that fat is holding toxic substances, just to give you an idea. And so this product also helps people lose weight in a number of ways. Well, they're losing body fat. Body fat is the most toxic area in your body. Your body increases fat cells to sequester away dangerous toxins from getting to your brain. It's trying to fill up with aluminum and mercury to keep it from getting to your brain, the most vital organ it has. There comes a point it can't, and some's going to get there anyway. So Carrie can, probably chime in with some of those symptoms, but it's often, if you start taking the gel and you have more fatigue, you are weaker, you have headaches. That's all mostly I've heard. I don't know if I've never heard of nausea. There's been a couple skin rashes. And then it's for us to determine, your practitioner, a few people are going to have allergic reactions to maybe some of these herbs, and they just have an allergy and they can't use the gel, right? I don't know if there's anything, Carrie, you want to add.
Sometimes if you are suffering a little bit of these detox, you may just have to cut the gel back for a few days, maybe do half a dose, maybe start with a key size and increase your water intake, and then kind of work your way back up to those 2 blueberry size pumps a day.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, good. I'm glad we addressed that. And
Yeah.
Okay, good. Do you need me to put the graphic back up on the screen, or can you go ahead and?
We can go, Carrie and I have a list, so
Okay,
you guys can put it in later whenever you want. So leaving off on ginkgo, after that I'll leave it. But it's one of the reasons why my people with MS do so well on this. Ginkgo is known for helping MS and other sexual dysfunction. So it's a really powerful thing. Carrie, you got the next one?
I have it. It's wild yam root. So a lot of people take wild yam. They know about it. Women take it, the cream, for progesterone balance. It's not just for women though, so it has a lot of other properties. Also, it balances your cycle, helps with pain, menstrual cramps, helps aid your digestion. So people with IBS, diverticulitis, even inflammation of the gallbladder can feel a result from wild yam root. It also reduces stiffness of your joints and can temporarily lower your blood pressure, but it also lowers your cholesterol over time too. So it's a really magical root because it does so many things. Also increases your energy, and this is one of the libido increasers, wild yam root.
Next one is me?
Yep.
All right. Here's the green tea leaf extract. Green tea is very, very popular. People have kind of been hearing about it, trying to switch it out, not have coffee and maybe do this instead. We'll say this, there's been questions about it. It is decaffeinated. There is no caffeine in this product. I've had people say, oh, I have a bad reaction to caffeine, it kept me up. No, you didn't, because there's no caffeine in it, right? So we should at least understand why they might have had more energy that was maybe coming from something else, right? So no caffeine, but green tea is becoming very, very popular because it has a certain group of chemicals in it that has a really long name. So I'm just going to say it's called EGCG. And those are one of the strongest antioxidant polyphenol groups that we know about. I love that it's in here, and I love that it's decaf, because a lot of people are drinking the teas, but I'm going to tell you right now, just like any products out there, studies done, there's lots of tea that's being sold that has none of that polyphenol in there. It isn't really even green tea. So I get concerned with people consuming too much green tea. One, because it might not have any of the polyphenols in it, or two, it's actually notorious for having very high lead levels, which is one of those dangerous heavy metals that the other ingredients have to detox you from. So I much rather people be getting their green tea from something like this that's really clean sourced, and I know they're getting those strong antioxidants. It's really, this could be something Kevin wants to know, it's renowned for what it can do for decreasing risk in heart attack and stroke. Right, that's one of its big things. And it also does it by increasing metabolism, fat metabolism, and decreasing oxidative stress, inflammation all over the body. So green tea does way more than that. And it's gonna, as a side note, if someone's gonna drink the tea, make sure you're getting it from Japan and not China because of the lead, all right? Sourcing matters. All right, Carrie, you got licorice root?
I have licorice root. It has been around for thousands of years. It's a Chinese herb, and it really works on gut issues. It actually, in Chinese medicine, it's put in almost every formula because it helps all the other herbs know where to go. So it's kind of like the mother hen that ships everybody off to all the other places that they're supposed to go. So I love licorice root. I've been using it for a long, long time. It also encourages the of your adrenal glands. Remember, that's your stress hormone and a gland that includes cortisol. So this helps with nervousness and depression because it helps decrease your cortisol levels. It also lowers cholesterol and enhances the bile flow of your gallbladder, hinders growth of plaque in your arteries. All kinds of women's health issues, licorice root, PMS, all the way to menopause. So also as a skin herb, helps with inflammation in the digestive tract, inflammation on the skin, so eczema, psoriasis, all those skin conditions that don't seem to want to go away. This product is also an antiviral, and it really helps the immune system, strengthen the immune system as well.
I didn't know that about it being an antiviral. I had to just take a note. Thanks, Carrie.
You're welcome.
I love that. I've got horny goat weed, huh? You would think it's pretty self-explanatory why he put horny goat weed in something that's offering increased libido. So that is what it does, but it does a whole lot more actually. So horny goat weed is very, very effective at increasing libido. It's been used in Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years because of it. It also does improvement with postmenopausal bone loss. There's actually a tremendous amount of these herbs. We're not hitting every single point of what they do, but this product has a lot of stuff about bone loss. HGH increases bone density. This one deals with it. Green tea helps with bone density. A lot of them are dealing with bone health. The wild yam root did that because it's one of the biggest issues when we age, losing muscle and losing bone density, really, I think are some primary reasons why we age, right? It also helps with nerve regeneration. It also helps with atherosclerosis, that cardiovascular disease component, and even certain cancers. So horny goat weed has been used even in things like for bronchitis and memory loss. So it does a lot more than just libido. So, but I think the name is awesome. All right, Carrie, you can go ahead and do Velvet Bean.
Velvet Bean is actually one of my favorite properties in this gel. It is a precursor to dopamine, and dopamine is our joy neurotransmitter. It's our happy guy. So this is actually used in Parkinson's because of the dopamine receptors. Also helps with edema and intestinal issues like gas and diarrhea, dysentery. This one also increases your libido. So it's used for impotence, sterility for men and women. Also helps with women's health, menstrual disorders. It's a nerve tonic and helps with muscular pain, purifies the blood. It's used in addiction recovery because it boosts your mood. It also helps catalase, which helps when the gray hair is coming in to help reverse that, helps glutathione, your mother antioxidant, and vitamin C. It helps those stay elevated in your body. So Velvet Bean to me is special. It also boosts HGH naturally.
I'll let you go on to do EDTA, and that's another one to kind of drop the bomb about why, again, water is important.
Yes, EDTA is a natural chemical found in certain plants. It is a natural chelating agent. So it's scooping up all those heavy metals that are floating around and helps clean the blood of those metals. Plus it lowers the calcium in the levels in the blood. I think, and Dr. Stephanie can attest to this, I think it takes the calcium that's floating around in the blood, the HGH kind of glands onto it, like I call it the magic carpet ride, drives it right into the bone, helps increase your bone density. Also stabilizes the gel and protects us against heavy metals. So really important for this EDTA, that we're drinking water. This is one of our main detox, so we want to make sure those liver pathways are open. So if you start not to feel well, it could be because the EDTA is starting to push out these things that we don't want in our bodies.
Right.
Metals.
And I'm going to say EDTA is actually listed as one of the extra ingredients. So you'll notice we're talking about kind of these active ingredients, herbal components, and a couple of the components we're still going to be talking about. The developer has it listed lower down as if it's more of a stabilizing agent within the gel to kind of keep it protected and keep the gel safe. Like we said, it's stabilizing. but we also know what it's really doing, and that's what it's really doing. It's found in plants. It is a chelating agent. It's very low dose, so it's very safe. Don't think of this like IV chelation. That's not what we're saying, but that's an extreme of what people go through, and you're able to get a very small microdose, just increasing your body's own ability to get through the wear and tear of what it's being exposed to every day in a more and more toxic world. But it's one of those that, yep, you need to be prepared, and you can't just magically lose a bunch of weight or have increased, metabolism without thinking things are going to come out of you that you've been holding on to for too long. So it's got to come out some kind of way. We want to help it with a lot of water. Okay.
Hey, Stephanie.
Yeah.
You also want to talk about glutathione, which isn't really an ingredient. But
that's the next one. You're my genius. I love you. All right. So piggybacking right on there, glutathione is not listed as an ingredient. However, I think it's important enough that I'm going to add it in here, and hopefully no one will edit me out. HGH, which Dr. Green talked about, that we have HGH in the product. We have multiple things that are trying to increase HGH, as well as the signaling to our own bodies making more. As I'm on the gel, I have increased HGH levels. I'm getting increased IGF-1 levels in my system. That goes to my liver, and you saw in that amazing graph, the liver then is also increasing its production of what's called glutathione. Ion is your body's own natural antioxidant. We call it the master antioxidant because it is the end all be all of there's nothing stronger on earth that we're supposed to be taking than making our own glutathione. Don't think some magical berry from China is going to be better than your body's own production of glutathione. So whatever you can do to get your body working the way it needs to work at its optimum state is way better than anything you're going to take in to megadose. We don't want to be megadosing, okay? So glutathione gets everything working the way it's supposed to do. It's a super popular supplement right now. It's incredibly expensive. It's very, very hard to actually take an oral glutathione and have it be absorbed. You can get it via injections with IVs and things of that nature, but it's a very expensive supplement, and the science of how to get it into us, that we absorb it, has been very hard. But this is going to be the thing that most people, if they're having a detox reaction, it's because they have a sudden increase of their body's own glutathione production. Glutathione, in my practice, is a massive issue. Because again, in functional medicine, and Dr. Green might be seeing a lot of this as well, the love child of functional medicine right now is methylation. So the buzzword is methylation. And the genes called MTHFR or MTR and COMT enzymes, so these are genetic SNPs, these are DNA markers people are getting tested for, and they're kind of getting really short chains on a certain path with methylation. So if you've been thinking you have a methylation disorder, or MTHFR or COMT enzyme, or you are somebody with ADHD, autism, Alzheimer's, all of those things have methylation disorders at the heart of why they got sick in the first place. And low glutathione is notorious in everybody with that. So a population not everybody talks about, but is very near and dear to my heart. My 21-year-old nephew is autistic, and an area that people aren't maybe thinking about, adults with autism have extremely low methylation, very, very low glutathione, and this is an outstanding product for them. It's very easy and it's very compliant for somebody with autism. And there's been some mind-blowing results that I've seen from adults using this product. So the glutathiones are really, really important, but you might feel bad, and that's why dosing is important, just because glutathione it's one of the best things you can do for yourself is make that with this gel, but you got to drink water and maybe back off the dosing. All right, let's see. Okay, so we have a whole nother group of lots of things, right? And there will be what are called the general fillers, the carriers, and agents, right? And they're going to have some names that might sound scary to people. Like, what is that? Let's see. PEG 33, 8-dimethaconin 14. What are those things? Okay, and caprylyl glycol, like things you guys don't say and sound really scary. But some are just simply vitamin C and vitamin E. Some of these things are not as complicated as they sound. Some of those are just simply to keep the product safe, to not degrade and get rotten. There's just a certain price to pay in any natural, holistic, cosmetic, any skincare, cream, lotion, makeup, shampoo, conditioner, that if you're in the holistic alternative world, the way I've lived for so long, people are still, they still use shampoo, right? Well, you can't just have a very clean plant source in a bottle made in a plant and ship it out somewhere without putting some natural preservatives and protecting agents to make sure you don't get a bacterial infection or something dangerous or going rancid. And how do you make it stable so it can not be affected by heat or cold? This product is its shelf life's long, and it's very, very stable as everybody wants it to be. So it can be shipped in 110 degrees or 10 degrees below, and your product's going to be safe, right? And so some of those, it's the acrylates, the ascorbic acid, the potassium sorbate extract. These are all, like, again, it's a safe food grade preservative. He really went out of his way to use the best products you possibly can use. The only thing I want to say, the tocopherols, the vitamin E, they are derived from a soy substrate, but there is no soy in the product. Right. So again, everything is non-GMO. It's paraben and lauryl sulfate free. These are really toxic, dangerous things. There's no soy. That's very important to many of us in this field. We avoid soy like the plague. And the animals are sourced from grass-fed free range, the two glandulars, free range from Australia, which much higher ethical safety regulations that we have here in the United States. Did I cover those enough for you, Lisa?
It's great. I mean, this has been terrific. And I guess I want to go, one thing I didn't get from you, Carrie. First of all, I think from where I sit, and I don't know. I mean, I'm lucky I get to sit here and ask you guys, and you're the experts. I know that I love this product and what it's done for me personally, and so many people I know, but the why is what I learned, right? So, but Carrie, tell us a little bit about, just real quick, because we're moving toward an hour, and I want to kind of keep it at that. But both Stephanie and Kevin have talked about what their experience with their patients. Can you talk a little bit about how you've used this in your practice and what you're seeing? How many patients do you have on it, and how's that going?
I probably have about 150 patients on the gel at this point. I'm getting results like, I know we've got to watch what we say, but like seasonal affective disorder, because it's winter time, that's kind of going away for people. People with real chronic fatigue issues have energy. Your normal aches and pains aren't happening anymore. People are increasing their muscle tone, their stamina. And, I haven't really had a lot of people with side effects from this gel. They all just tell me this is the best product that they've ever taken in their lives. And a lot of these people, they've been around. They're going to functional medicine docs. They're getting regular massage. They're doing yoga. They're taking care of themselves. Some people are, they need a lot more help. Across the board, this gel is helping everybody that comes in my door. So I really try to show how it's helping me, because, I walk in with a glow, and I have energy that goes throughout the day, and they see that, and, they want to drink the Kool-Aid too. So I find in my practice that in 17 years I've been in practice, and like, Dr. Stephanie, we have had access to the best botanicals, best supplements out there. And, I try to say this is magic gel, but this is magic gel. It works.
All right, terrific. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I think you've given so much information for so many, and I'm so grateful. We will do we're going to do another session with Dr. Kevin Green on just, really kind of focus and doing a deeper dive on the HGH and what he's seeing in his practice now that he's tracking results. And that's going to be a fun thing to do. But you guys, this is, been amazing. Is there anything that I should have asked any one of you that I haven't, that you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I just would maybe want to add, just for everyone to remember, again, we broke it down. Kevin talked about things. We talked about the HGH, the thyroid and adrenal glandular support, and all these botanicals. And it's really how they're working together in that magical carrier of homeopathic medicine. And I know, Dr. Green was a little bit like, I don't even know what homeopathic means exactly, but I just know this stuff is working and I'm getting amazing results and my metrics are proving it, right? And maybe he'll want to talk about that a little bit, Cap. And you don't have to totally understand everything, you guys, to allow it to support you and nourish you, replenish you, and heal you. Okay?
Yeah.
And I just have to say that I knew that. Thank you for inviting me, Lisa, because I knew that I would learn from Carrie and Stephanie, and I've actually learned more than I've ever imagined. And I'm always trying to learn about this stuff. So and more importantly is that now my patients are going to benefit from that. So I said 200 patients. If I had this approach, I literally am going to change. In my world, the inactive ingredients we ignore because they're inactive. What do I care? I want to know what the active ingredient is and the drug that I'm prescribing. And I've always said, I've said it a couple times to my patient, I said, pay attention to that inactive ingredients because, again, a traditional doc, I'd be like, seems like really great stuff. Well, clearly it's beyond that. And that's why, my approach has completely changed to say, it's just as important. It is it's the Trinity. And the thing that's sad is that I gotta get this, I feel sad for the patients that I've already gone through, and I focused on HGH, which is what I'm talking about. And they said, that's okay. And they're missing out on all the other stuff that they could have, the other benefits from this gel that I should have told them about. That's my responsibility. So I can't wait to see him again to say, hey, it's not just HGH, it's all this stuff too. So, and I'm glad I'm on it. I know I feel great, just like you just said, Lisa. Now we have the why, like Stephanie said, we don't need to know all the details. But now, I picked about 15 of those things that I had. I'm like, oh, that's why I feel that way. Oh, that's why. Oh, great. Oh, good. Aluminum's on my brain. That's good. But honestly, that should really be our approach now, is that the gel it's all these things.
Absolutely. And one thing that I find interesting is there are some people who say, oh, it's the botanicals that are making you feel good. Like that's a bad thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's the whole thing. There is nothing out there. That's why I'm so passionate, is there's nothing out here that does all of this. And how cool is it? You can't just duplicate it. Because, yeah, stuff.
They're raising my hand a little bit. Yeah, like I love that. He was very smart in what he did, because ultimately to have your own pituitary increasing your HGH levels, that it becomes effectual, that your IGF-1 levels are being increased, in your liver going everywhere, is really going to take months. There have been people who are testing their IGF-1 blood levels and showing them increasing in a normal physiological range, but that does take months. It's often why people are in that 4th to 5th month where they have this magic that happens. It's because finally all this little signaling to this pituitary went boop, and it went and it started doing it. In the meantime, it's that thyroid and adrenal support and all the botanicals that you're really getting to experience. My biggest problem in practice is when there are some people who aren't going to get the big hit off the thyroid and adrenal and off the botanicals. And to keep them compliant, like Dr. Green said, like you tell them, you got to stay on it for months to really ramp up and get that effect. Just like any good therapy, like he goes to the gym and, certainly his trainer didn't say, hey, I'll see you 3 times and I'll get you buff. He's like, no, I need to see you 4 times a week for 3 months. And maybe I'll get you to that goal if you do everything I say. Right? So it does take time. It really takes consistency, time, 5 days on, 2 days off. I don't want people making up weird schedules. I'm hearing a lot of weird feedback of people doing really off-label things with the gel. I would like you to stop.
And I did the same thing. I'm a guy, you would think I know any better. When I first started, I'm like, well, blueberry size twice a day. I'm bigger than most, so let me just do a mega dose. Let me just bathe in it for the first 30 days. And now I know why, because all my toxins were just accumulating. I wasn't drinking this. I literally now have it in front of me in my office to remind me to drink. And so I did it to myself because, but now I now know why. And so I'll be also stressing the importance of water. Like you said, I like the visual of you drinking the water. That was very dramatic and very effective. I'm going to do that too. I'm going to bring the water into my, because you like you said, picture's worth 1,000 words. I'm going to do the same thing. And Carrie, your approach is, it's to me, this trio that we got right here, this quattro with Lisa, I love it. Let's keep doing it. So I can learn.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
So I can learn.
I love it too. I love it. Love it. Love it. So now I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to invite you to go and ask you to please go to our channel. This video will be uploaded to the On the Gel Success Series YouTube channel. Please go subscribe to the channel and like the video, and please, feel free to use it. It's here to share with anybody who has questions about the product. So thank you all so much for being here today. Take care.